Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mental Health Hour, episode 8. Hello, Gemma. How are you?
Hey, not too bad.
All right. We've got a great episode today. I'm pretty excited about this. A good, I can call him a good friend now. Good friend of mine through that I've met on this platform has decided that he would grace us with his presence, uh, Mr. Bo Adams. We are going to be discussing today the um, what it's like to parent um, with an addicted child. Uh, I I know uh, in my own journey or story, I have put a load of stress and unnecessary, probably shaved years off my mother's life with my addiction. For her just waiting for me to get help and wanting me to get better. Um, how about you, Gemma? I know you have a story as well with Thomas.
Yeah, because I take opiates, I'm prescribed fentanyl and morphine for my chronic pain. Um, I was originally told I couldn't get pregnant, but then when I did get pregnant, they wouldn't let me stop because of the damage it could do to the pregnancy if not terminate the pregnancy. Which meant Thomas was, in fact, born addicted to opiates and he had to be weaned off them. He was a fighter and got off them, but for those first few weeks, especially first few hours, seeing him withdrawing from them was horrifying. Just hours
Yeah,
old, shaking. Like, yeah, that's.
it is a tough thing. Now I don't have kids of my own that are even close to the age um, that like Bo's getting ready to talk about here.
Mhm.
Uh, but so I can't really relate as much on that front. But I can tell uh, everybody, what it was like on the other end of the spectrum. Now, especially that I've gotten cleaned up and I talk to my mom regularly again, which that went by the wayside when I was in my addicted brain and everything. I completely detached and didn't really uh, have much of a relationship with my mom. My dad passed away 3 or 4 years ago now, I think. Yeah, we're coming up on 4 years. So in the beginning, yeah, he was involved as well, but he started declining on his own with his health issues. But anyway, uh, that's a little bit of an intro. We're going to go ahead and bring Bo on here shortly. We will mention that when and while Bo is telling his story, we'll have time for Q&A. Um, we're not going to make Bo stick around the whole hour if he has some stuff to do, but we'll have him up here hopefully 20, 30 minutes, and we'll head back and review some comments if there are any um, uh, during the broadcast. So that being said, let's go ahead and bring Mr. Bo on the screen. And
Hello.
there he is. Bo, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How are you, Gemma?
Hey, not too bad. You. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So basically just gave a little bit of an intro there. I'm sure you heard. And if you'd like to go ahead and roll into your diatribe, feel
Okay.
free. It's all yours.
Well, my son is 28 years old as of last June. So it's not like it's something that hasn't happened before with his addiction. It started basically about 5, 6 years ago. He was, to lack of a better term, just being an asshole to everybody all the time. And it was so far out of his character that it was infuriating to the point where I called him out and told him he was being a rotten human being. And apparently this had some sort of effect on him because the next day he put himself into rehab, which is a shock to everybody in his family, including me, because we didn't know he needed to go to rehab. but apparently he did at that time. So of course my sister and my ex-wife just exploded with just like, well, you did this. I was like, how did I do this? He's the one that checked himself into rehab. So he spent 10 days in the rehab, which whatever, apparently got his life on track. And then Christmas Eve of last year, I got a phone call from my ex-wife, and she never calls me. We never communicate. And so I knew immediately when I looked at my phone and it said her name, I was just like, oh no, something bad. When I got on the phone, she had told me that he had OD'd from fentanyl that night, and she had found him in the morning on his bed with his lips blue. Now that's just shocking. So luckily she knew some CPR. She didn't know some. She knew the whole thing. I called the EMTs and kept the blood flowing, kept air going until they could get there with the Narcan and bring him back around. So he immediately gets whisked off to the hospital, and he gets put under observation for 7 days. Now, when I found out, my first reflex was I'm putting on my shoes and grabbing some underwear and I'm out the door. But I had to rein myself in on that, because that's probably the last thing he needs right now is me in his house with his mom when he gets home and causing more stress, I would assume. And I've got some good advice from people. You have to wait until he comes and wants you to come see him. And I was like, okay. Now, what led up to this was I was totally blind again. So I just want to tell you, if you're a parent of an addict, you're going to be totally blind. I'm sure you know this, parents who have addicts. He had not, the previous time before, he was outside his character. This time he was completely inside his character, but for like 2 years, he was nice, like super nice. But the caveat being that he was super nice because he needed money. Now he would come up with stuff for like his car, or he needed to make a trip and all this other stuff. And of course he'd always say, I'll pay you back, but I'm not that parent. I was like, okay, here, this is a Christmas gift or whatever. So that should have been included me, but he was smart enough, and he is smart, to figure out, well, if I acted that way and everybody found out, I'm going to act this way, and nobody found out. And if it wasn't for him taking the fentanyl, the fentanyl-laced pills, which he had found from a dude on a website, we still wouldn't have known. He'd still be doing it. So it's good and bad. I mean, he almost died, which is bad, but he's in rehab, or went into rehab. Actually, he's still in treatment. He's still going to his meetings. So on that, this 2 months, like a month later, 2 months later, he was like, oh, already fine for me to come down. And we visited him for like a week down in Phoenix, where he lives. And it was a difficult time for a little bit, because I was walking on eggshells. And I'm not, I know nobody out there knows me too well, but I'm not the type of person that walks on eggshells, and I don't know how to do it. I basically, I'll run into the fire like you. I'll run into the fire. I'll just charge headlong. That's, all the bumps on my head prove that. So I didn't know what to do when I was around him, and he was acting like the old surly one, and then he just kind of come around and then not come around, and it was just, I know it was difficult for him. He's the one going through everything, but as a parent, I know how to be a parent. I just don't know how to be a parent to an addict. Right. So it's touch and go. It's touchy feely. This goes wrong. And apparently I did something wrong when I was down there, because then he decided that I'm never getting his address. And I was just like, okay, why won't I get your address? Well, I don't want you showing up on my doorstep. I'm like, why would I show up on your doorstep? And he didn't say nothing. So that turned into 2 months of not talking. And so we're still in this process. It's not even been a year yet. I don't know how to, besides, the thing I've learned, and I'm still learning, is, I got to be hands off and let him figure it out. It's his own life. I'm the audience member watching his stage play, and it's very, very hard. And it's hard for parents in general to watch their kids go through this. So there's no good answer. And I know addicts, addicts everyone's different, and everyone handles their shit different. See, I told you I'd swear. So that's the hardest part about, for me, being a parent, because I'm just the type that'll charge head on and fix it. I'm a fixer, but you can't fix addiction because there's no cure.
That's a really good point. There's what they call the 3 C's of parents with addicted children. It's, I did not cause this, I cannot control this, and I can't make them change. And I mean, learning that is probably, I guess, step one as a parent. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, that's the hardest step. It's the hardest step for most parents because when they're kids, when they're babies, of course, you got to take care of everything. Then when they start to grow when they start to grow, walk and talk, you're still their protector. And then, come to teenage years, and I don't know how many people out there have had teenagers, but yeah, it's a whole new obstacle. But then you get through that into their 20s, like he graduated college, then he got a master's in education, then he got a job, and then he's doing all this good stuff. Next thing you know, he ODs on fentanyl on Christmas Eve day. How do you process that? Right. And I know it's all about him, but I need to process that for myself. And that's the hard part. You got to let them do it, but then you've seen them fail before, so you don't want to watch them fail again. It's like a Blade Runner. You're just on the edge of the knife the whole time.
And everybody, or as we were talking earlier, I'm sorry, you before the broadcast, you were saying how 10 days, right, in the first time of rehab, and now he's moving forward.
He spent a week, I guess something in Arizona, in Maricopa County triggers a week under observation for an OD. And of course, I'll be honest with you, my first thought was, he just got some bad pills. But, they did the blood tests and he was just rampant with everything and fentanyl. He just had everything in his system. So they knew it was a lot more than just, he mistakenly took 2 fentanyl-laced pills. He's just been drug seeking repeatedly for it has to be years if it's that high in the system, even though he hadn't had any, or he had his stomach pumped or whatever else. But it was in his system. So he sat there for a week in Maricopa County Hospital, Phoenix Hospital, I don't know which one. And like I said, I didn't go down. And then when he got out, he went straight to NA meetings because it's not Narcotics Anonymous, and he's been doing those. But somehow in that relationship, I have become the problem with this therapy, and that's the part that I have to just go, okay, well, let's pull back. If he says you're the problem, he probably is or probably isn't. And he's just making up. He's trying to figure himself out. But if I fight back, I'm gonna be the problem. So that's the hardest part. It's just sitting on my hands.
And I can't tell you how many times I've tried to place all the blame on everybody else before I really started owning this. So you let us post a picture here for you. What's going on in this picture?
He's graduating college. He's a giant of a man. In that picture, I'm 6 foot, 230 pounds, and look at his hand on my shoulder. He is a monster. He's huge. So that's why I've kept in shape, because just in case he wants to brawl someday, I got to stay in shape. Look at him. But seriously, he's a kitten.
You were mentioning to me as well that this is a proud moment for you.
Was it after? No, it was before his first time in rehab, and he was just a happy kid. I think was he 21 right there, maybe 20, and 21, and everything was great. And then like a year later, he's doing that stuff, and he's into he checks himself into rehab, and I was like, where did that come from? No. So you're always going to be blindsided, in my opinion. You're not going to be able to. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but addicts will find a way to trick you. They will. They're not stupid. They're smart, and especially my kid, who has a master's in education and a teaching job, figured out how to play me. And I'm not mad at that. It's just I wish I had seen it instead of me just being happy that he's out there talking to me and he's being a productive citizen when I should have, but I didn't see the signs.
All right, we'll do a quick check on the comments here. We got Knowledge saying hi, but everybody's yelling Bo, of course. So,
yeah.
Lucia's in here saying hello. Knowledge says, I've been to NA back in my 20s for some crazy stuff. Yeah, so I mean, lots of people have been down this road, and unfortunately, like you were saying, as a parent, you have to sit back and watch, and that's probably one of the hardest things that you can mentally put yourself into the state of. Gemma, what do you think?
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Like, just from the little bit that I am aware, like with what you say, if you try and like say something to him with how he is, like certainly with how I know it makes me feel, and I'm prescribed it, so I'm on a prescribed dose, and like when I've withdrawn from it and things, it really messes with your head. And if you try and speak to him, they say that you hurt the ones you love, and it is very true. And in his mind at the moment, I guess he's not going to be, he's looking for somebody to blame, and unfortunately that is you. And I hope,
Well,
like, he comes
as a father to two young men, my youngest is 17, my oldest is 28. Yes, I took a 10-year gap in between because I'm not very bright. But further on, boys and their fathers, when it's the teenage years, I mean, you'll see it even though you're the mom, even though he loves you, you're the mom. You're going to see it in his teenage years. They just get everything. If you say blue, they say white, or black, you say the white. If you say the sky is blue, they're going to say it's a form of azure. They're just not going to listen. So as you know, he's been that way for his whole life, of course, with me. And if I say, hey, here's, this is what you should do to do this, and he'll do the exact opposite. Now that we're in this frame of mind of getting through addiction, and I am not, I can't, I feel like I can't say anything, even though I'm just trying to be friendly. Like for 3 months straight, I just sent him good morning, I love you text, just so he knows I'm there. And then he comes across with me blaming me for some of his problems, and I'm just like, what? So that I have to get over. That I have to figure out. He's not blaming me for his problem. He's looking for someone to blame for his problems, and I have to accept that. But that is hard.
Yeah, I definitely can relate with that, especially before, like I said, before I was in that state of owning this and, okay, I need help. I can't do this myself. When I was still in the phase where I thought I had a handle on everything and everything was okay, then it was everybody else's fault, because I mean, I'm still doing good. What's wrong with y'all? And also, I definitely can relate to what you were saying about the manipulation of it. An addict, if nothing else, is a really good mastermind of manipulation, and how we can get money from people, or just get that drug that we need, or whatever makes us feel good, and then ask questions later or deal with the repercussions. That's a real thing, and I'm quite guilty of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So you, for example, stated that you were giving him some money, and all the while, didn't think that, of course, you didn't think that it was going towards anything harmful, correct?
No, well, me and my ex-wife separated early, but I've always been with my son. I've always had communication with him. I always visit him, so we're still tight. But into his high school years and into college years, when he's tight, so I've always, I'm the money man. I'm like, here you go. Even if I don't have it, here you go. So it made me feel good for the past 2 years when he said, hey, can I get this from you for that? And I'm thinking, all right, okay, I'm being the dad again. And it was him just it was him trying to find money above what he already had to get what he needed. So I basically enabled him for almost 2 years, because I was just throwing, here you go. Oh, don't pay me back. Don't worry about it. I got you. And me thinking I was being a good dad, and it kills me, was enabling him.
Sure. Yeah. And unfortunately, that is the case. Like it does come down to an enabling, quote unquote, enabling thing here that, yeah, now you get the chance to finally feel like he wants you around. And sure enough, you're providing as you're supposed to, of course. But really, it's just that manipulation. And then once he gets what he wants, did you notice if he disappeared off the face of the earth again, or what have you?
In the beginning, yeah, it was in the beginning. It was like, okay, my friends are going on a trip, and I'm just like, all right, what do you need? And he tells me how much. I'm like, you know what? Here's your Christmas present. And then nothing for a couple. Then eventually started getting to be every month, and it kept getting. I don't want to say, well, it has to be excuses. It's excuses for what he was doing. It was his car. It was his insurance. It was his registration. I'm like, all right, you know what? You're teaching in Maricopa County. You're making a decent living. Where's your money? And in my head, I just said, oh, you know what? I was 28. I was bad with money. I'll just help him out. I didn't put two and two together like, okay, if you're making 45, 50 grand a year, you shouldn't need to borrow $100 from me. But as a dad, my first instinct is, here's $100. And I didn't see it. And I just want all the parents out there that have children that are addicts, I feel for them because they don't see it either. There's a blind eye to your there's blinders to your children. And
Yeah.
at the now we get to this part, it's like, oh shoot, I can't put the blinders back on, but I can't do anything either.
Do you think that if you hadn't have given him it, he would have gone and got it somewhere else anyway?
Oh, 100%. 100%. He would. Well, his mom was tired of him hitting her up, so he came to me, and I'm just like, okay, here you go, here you go. I mean, 2 years I was here you go, here you go. And like I said, at the beginning it was random. At the end, towards before he, or right before he OD'd, like from like July to Christmas, it was every day, or not every day, every month. He had another thing he needed $100. Or one time it was like $20. I'm like, what the fuck do you need $20? Why don't you have $20? But I gave it to him.
Yeah. That must have been hard. I mean, I had it was a friend who it was not the same sort of thing, but they ended up, because they couldn't get the money, they actually turned to stealing and things like that. So I guess when they're in that frame of mind, if they want the money and they need to get what they need to get, they will get it one way or another. Right?
At the end, he was doing hookups on Grindr. My son is gay. He was doing hookups on Grindr with people who had pills. That's it. So if you had a pill on Grindr, he was ready to hook up with you. And that just blew my mind, that he went to that side, that dark side. I don't know what you call it, but his mind worked that way, where he figured, okay, well, I'm out of money and dad's not, I've spent my dad's money. I'm just going to go on Grindr, go on a date and have him give me pills. I'm just like, what? How, the drug seeking mentality is foreign to me.
Yeah. Like, I think Tim's volume. Tim, your volume's low.
We don't need to listen to Tim. He's got nothing to say.
I'll go out and come back in.
I can't hear you.
Is it up? Oops. Turn your volume up. I'm going to knock it up. Try that.
You know what? Oh, he's gone. Bye-bye. So how are you?
Be careful what I say, don't I?
Yeah.
He's back. Are you back? Is your volume back? No. Oh, what's happening?
I have broken haps.
Oh, honestly, this week, everything I've tried to do on haps is just like.
So let me just get to the end part here, because we've been dancing around. Today is July 21st or 20th. I don't know. It's Wednesday. That I know.
Yeah.
Which I typically don't. And
20.
we're just now starting to communicate again after the whole February, March, April stuff. So it's a start, but my instincts are always, well, is he being nice to me for reasons I don't want him to be nice to me, or is he just coming through it? And I can't, like I said, I'm the audience member and watching his stage play. I can't stand up and shout. I can't do any of that stuff. I got to watch, and I'll always be here, but I don't want him to fail, even though the odds of failing are pretty high.
Yeah.
Test.
Oh, you're back.
Jesus,
Nice.
Tim, turn your mic down.
Scary.
The face,
All right.
yeah.
I apologize for that. Wouldn't be fun without a little technical difficulties.
Oh, absolutely.
What did I miss? I heard you get.
I just wrapped up. Where are we at now? With me and my son, after the February March blowout, he's starting to communicate with me again. And now my first reaction, because I'm human, is he communicating with me again to be nice? It's because he needs something, wants something. He's falling back into it, or is he just coming through it? So that's like it's the Blade Runner thing. I'm walking the knife's edge. I don't want him to go left. I want him to go right, but I can't push him left or I can't push him right without hurting myself in his eyes. So it's very frustrating.
So I guess, the ultimate question for you, from this show's perspective is how does it affect your day-to-day, your mental health? How are you as Bo?
I have been through a lot in my life, and this is something very major. This is my son, so it ranks up there, as a major thing. But I plow ahead and get through the day. I use humor a lot, as you can tell. I swear a lot. but I know if I just, there's no giving up. So I don't know how to give up. It's just knowing what to do. And like I said, it hasn't even been a year yet, and I got to figure out how to do this right. So that's the part I'm at. I'm figuring out where I am and what I have to do and how to do it right. I'm gonna mess up, obviously. He probably won't. If I say something or do something, he's not gonna talk to me for another 3 months. But I just want him to be okay. I want him to stay on the program or go to the program. Man, I don't want him to find a reason to go back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know being on here probably helps. I know it helps me a lot, especially I've talked about it before. This whole platform has been great, and the connections we've made. I would have never have come across Gemma or Bo or Veda or Lucia, Knowledge, Desiree, all of you, Di. It's been an amazing thing to be able to just hop on here whenever I guess you would say you're not feeling up to par. Would you say, Bo, that the HAPS platform in itself is definitely a great coping skill for you here?
Sure. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm interacting with people because generally I don't like a lot of people, and I'm not being rude. I'm not being one of those guys, but there's not a lot of people I enjoy. So when I find somebody on HAPS, I'm going to be super loyal. I'm going to be that person that's going to be on there all the time watching. And I like you, and I like Gemma, and I like Veda, and I like Lucia, and I like Knowledge. And I can't read the rest of it on there because I don't have my glasses, but I love you all. So yeah, it definitely helps. And I got my core friends that I've had since high school, and they're just good guys. They know my history. They know what I've been able to do in life, and I know what they've been able to do in life, and we're just friends regardless of what's going on. So that helps. Being on a social media platform with cool people helps. I've gone on another platform and talked like this before with Periscope with my friend Kurt. That helped. So yeah, talking helps. I mean, even if you're talking just to you, me, and Gemma, it's a good thing to get that out there. Because I think, and I could be wrong because I'm not a big mental health guy. I don't know a lot about mental health, but keeping it in is probably the poison that drives you back to bad habits.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. I can vouch.
Of course, I have tons of bad habits, and I'm not quitting any of them.
I know we've talked about that. There's plenty of bad habits out there, but at least we're trying to correct the ones that are actively killing us, right?
Yeah, pick better bad habits.
Well, Bo, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing that with us, and we're definitely gonna talk a lot more on this topic. There's plenty of avenues we can go down, especially with parenting as a whole. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else?
I think I came on here because I think it's very important, and I want this broadcast to be important because mental health. Okay, listen, I'll be honest. 10 years ago, mental health. I just step it up, put your helmet back on, get back in the game. Well, now that I have a son. My son is going through the issues, and it's not that easy. And then he's got all the breaks in his life going for him, and yet he's still having this issue. There's nothing healthier than the mental health. So nothing more important than your mental health. I mean, it's very important. That's why I wanted to come on and let everybody know that even as carefree and funny and goofy as I am, there's shit going on in my life too. So everybody just know that shit goes sideways. Hunker down, get your shit together, button up that helmet, but but get through it. Do your best to get through it. Talk with people. Talking is the best thing on the planet. I mean, that's why they have NA meetings. That's why they have AA meetings. That's why you go to an AA meeting, you don't even have to talk. You can sit there and listen to other people's experiences, and they might relate to your experience. So that's a great thing. So I just want people to be aware that mental health is not a stigma, or actually it is a stigma, I guess, still, but it shouldn't be. And get out there and talk to people. Find your mojo with other people, or find someone to talk to, and just try your best. That's all you can do.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Bo.
This PSA was brought to you by cigars and caffeine.
Gemma and I will go ahead and break this down now, and we're gonna let you retire back to your comment section where I know you're most comfortable. But thank you
I
so
can't
much for
see
coming
anything.
on.
I can't see nothing.
There's one that I want to read to you. It's from Christopher Michael. He says, Bo doesn't have his glasses on. Please tell him he's one tough guy.
There you
Can't see nothing.
So much support and love for you in the comments, honestly. And
Thank you, my
to
Chris.
me
Thank
as
you, guys.
well, honestly, if you ever need anything or need to talk, like, just message me. But you really are one strong person, and just listening to that, like, it sounds like to me that you've done absolutely everything you can as a person and as a human being, as a father. And the fact that you're letting your son know that you're there, I guess that's all you can do. But
Thank
so
you.
much love and respect to you, honestly, Bo. Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right. If you have any questions or anything for Bo, I'm sure he'll be in the comments section now that he can get his glasses.
I'm going to lunch. I don't know what you're talking about.
All righty. Thank you, Bo. We'll see you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Bye, Gemma. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So, Miss Gemma. So let's break this down a little bit as far as parenting and everything that goes along with it. You're a parent of Thomas. You had mentioned that he came out with an addiction as well, or came out, but was born.
Yeah.
Would you like to share anything along what you've been or what you had to go through there, and then maybe we can get into some helpful.
Yeah. So I was always told I couldn't get pregnant, like categorically. I could not get pregnant. They wouldn't give me birth control. They said it would never ever happen. Obviously I did. I have a son. Prior to him, I miscarried. It was very early on, but still very upsetting. And then when I found out that I was pregnant, I was on fentanyl and morphine and lots of other stuff. I stopped everything that I could medication-wise. However, they wouldn't let me stop the morphine and the fentanyl because they said it would cause too much damage to, like, my unborn child, if not completely end the pregnancy. They said that I would have to stay on it. It would cause too much to, like, him and to me. I mean, I was willing to go with it, and whatever comes my way, I'll take it. I was more concerned about the fact that I had a baby inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, no, you stop that and it will end the pregnancy.
Yeah, it's kind of a damning situation.
I had to continue knowing every day that I was taking that. It was going inside of him. They said it was minimal. Who was I to question what the doctors were saying? I didn't know. But yeah, when he was born, he was also a high risk for Down syndrome, but that wasn't anything to do with the fentanyl or anything. I was offered tests and things. I refused because I was a high risk pregnancy anyway. At the end of the day, whatever he was when he was born, he was my son above and beyond anything else. He is what he is.
Sure.
But when he was born, I was encouraged to breastfeed for a little while, which was very difficult, but that way he was still getting the opiates from the breast milk into him, and it was helping him reduce slowly.
Yeah.
But like when I had to stop doing that, because I had issues, I couldn't produce. It was only one side. There was a lot of problems, and they said that he would have to hopefully just fight his way through it. But they were on standby to give him very low level opiates to withdraw him slowly. There was actually another mum in there that was the same sort of. They were in there for the same reason, and their child was actually having to have opiates given multiple times a day. However, Thomas wasn't. I remember holding him for one of the first times, and he was in my arms, and then he just started like he was going like that, shaking, and his eyes were rolling. I panicked. I thought he's having a seizure or something, and they said no, it's fine. It's just the withdrawals. And I think that's when it really hit me, and I'm like, I've done this to my child, even though I had absolutely no choice at all in the matter of being able to stop it. I'm like, how, like, I couldn't live with myself thinking of it, and I nearly let it destroy me.
Right, because you said that if you had stopped cold, with the pain medication that you were prescribed, it would have terminated the pregnancy.
Yeah, they said
That's a tough situation to be in. I'm glad that everything has panned out, though, and
yeah,
he's living his best life, isn't he?
he was clear within, I think, just over a week. He was completely clear, and
Nice.
he fought his way through it. He did have other problems, which they said most likely wasn't related to the opiates, but it was hard.
So, I mean, and going in with what we were talking with Bo about, I told you earlier in the broadcast, the only thing I can really relate here is from my end when I was actively in addiction with the alcohol and what have you. I couldn't see it at the time. So I mean, like with Bo's son, I'm sure or with anybody's child, they're not very cognizant of what they're doing in their active state of addiction. I completely detached myself from my whole family. My mom would beg to see me, come over, visit, this, that, and the other. I always had an excuse or some kind of reason that I couldn't make it. And I would do the same thing. I would only call when I maybe needed something. Very selfish. And of course, during all that and throughout all that, I thought I was acting completely normal. I thought I didn't think I was doing anything wrong or hurting her or our relationship. But we talk about it now today after the fact, and now that I'm in recovery, I can't believe that I didn't see it so clearly, how much I was hurting her and how much she had to go through, how much unnecessary stress I put her through. As a mother, you feed, you clothe, you bathe, and you bring these beautiful children up, and then I basically just shut her completely out of my life, and thinking all the while that I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's very heartbreaking to me now that I am in recovery, and I can look back at the times throughout the past 10 years of all the wrongs that I've kind of accrued over that time. And I tell you what, it's very eye-opening. It's very humbling, and that's one of the main reasons I believe in the Alcoholics Anonymous program. We do the step 8 and step 9 of making amends. Well, best believe my mom was right up there at the top of the list for my amend making.
Yeah.
And it's so hard, and talking with my mom, she's like, I can't, I wanted to over and over again kind of somehow control the situation and get you on the right path, but it just can't be done. It's one of those things where the person that's in active addiction needs to come to that term themselves and needs to fix it themselves. I've said it on here before, especially with going to AA the first time around. I was doing it for everybody except me, and that it was just doomed from the get-go.
Yeah.
So going back to those 3 C's, that I mentioned while Bo was on. I did not cause this. I cannot control this, and I can't make them change. That's, I mean, the long and short of it. If we're looking at it from the parents' standpoint,
Yeah.
my more concern is what we can do uh, moving forward to maybe raise some kind of knowledge on the subject. Maybe we can find some articles and post on. I'll post them on my site or my channel. Um, I know there's Al-Anon out there. Not a lot of people talk about Al-Anon, uh, but that's specifically for the family members of people in Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. They have their own platform to go to. Do you guys have something over there?
Yeah, I believe so. I I'm not sure what there is out there for the family members. I have heard there is something, but certainly the Alcoholics Anonymous and everything else, we have that. And then they had mentioned to me if I am able to come off the opiates for my pain relief, that I would have to go through a full detox program now because I've been on them that long that I am addicted to them.
Right, and you were telling me earlier in the week how angry you are that they prescribe these to you.
Yeah, I've been on them. Like, what, I'm 37 now. I have been on them for over 12 years. Like, if not more. Morphine was given to me first. I'd say that's actually about 14 years ago. And then fentanyl, a good no, Thomas is 7. So yeah, a good 9 years now, fentanyl. And then morphine longer. And it's like, thinking back, I'm like, yeah, okay, I was in pain, but why give me that? And I have a lot of what I have with me medically. Hey, Graham. A lot of what I have medically is classed as invisible illness. And I think certainly here, their response to that is to try and shut it down and give you something thinking, oh, they're after pain relief, and just try and shut them up, make them go away, whatever. It certainly was back then. And they
Mm,
admitted it when they changed my patch type because I was on Butrans before, and it got where I was absolutely, my back was covered in patches because there was that many, and they didn't go up to that many. So I had to have patches all over, and they made the switch from Butrans to fentanyl because they could lower the dose of fentanyl because it was a higher end drug.
mm.
And that way I wasn't taking as many, but it is literally just getting that. I'm on 2 patches now. It's going up again and again, and it's like, well, when is it going to end? Because, like, in 10 years from now, what am I going to be on for my pain? And it
Right.
does annoy me that the first thing they do now is just thrust medication at you, not thinking of the long-term effects of it and the addiction that it causes.
Yes, certainly, and it's definitely not um, just for adults. I'm trying
Mm.
to think of, I believe here in the United States they're getting a little bit better with it, but most times, and from what I've been talking or and from folks that I've talked to, and I know my own experiences, like I have a very good relationship with my doctor. I've
Mm.
known him since I was born. He actually did the rounds on me as an infant. Um, so I've known him my whole life, and I'm almost positive he would probably give me anything I asked him for,
Mm.
within reason. There had to be. He's not just gonna prescribe anything, but
Mm.
unfortunately, that's the case among across the world, and it's easy. It can be easy to get your hands on certain things, and
Mm.
people are getting addicted at a young age, and then that's just opening the floodgates for a bad couple of years down the road, or lifetime. And that's a shame that it has to be that way, but at the same time, parents, they can. What are they supposed to do? Parents are sitting back. I mean, you heard Bo say it. I want to solve it, but I can't. You know, uh, as a parent, I'm pretty sure everybody wants to do everything they can in their power to make their kids' life better, and to if they see them actively struggling,
Mm.
what can I do to remedy this situation? And it just with the addiction world, there's nothing you can do. You have to sit back and let them run the show. They need to be the ones that come to grips with the issue. They need to
Yeah.
be the ones that make the change. There's article after article out there that I've been reading on this subject, specifically stating uh, how parents want it. It's almost second nature to, try and know your teens' whereabouts
Yeah.
and who they're hanging out with, what they're doing in all of their free time. Um, Placing hidden cameras around these days are popular, and the Ring doorbell cameras and all that. It's become a world of let's nanny cam and keep an eye on things.
That's how I found out I was being drugged, because of the cameras. It
Right,
was an
right.
abusive relationship. That's how I found out I was being drugged.
So that's a very easy uh, thing to grab a hold of, or to get your hands on it for your own home, or your child's car if they're going out and you want to know where they're going. GPS trackers, this, that, and the other. What the point is that you can do all this stuff, and you can gather all this private eye evidence, and then you talk to them. If they're already actively in addiction, I mean, we're at a point where it's too late. Am I correct?
Yeah, like
Hey, Jim.
once you've started, then yeah, like unless you catch them, I guess right at the start. I
And
guess
how about
then.
the folks that think they can, forcibly take their loved one, their child or whoever, down to a rehab center, kind of push them in the door, lock the door behind them, and kind of, you're doing this no matter what. That's also not doing anything, because, as we said, if they're not there for them, it's a
They have to
purely,
want to do it. I saw a film actually that was about addiction, and it was where the parents had locked them in their bedroom and would not let them out at all. And it got that bad. I'm going to try and think of the name of the film now. I'll send you it. And it got that bad where the child had broken out of the room and they ended up boarding up the windows and everything. It was based on a true story. And it was heartbreaking to watch, but very eye-opening as well, to the lengths that people will go to get them. And in the end, they had the mother fetching them the drugs, and the mother thought that they could control it by reducing it, and it was, I wish I could remember the name of it,
that's all right.
but yeah, everything like that. But even down to Thomas now, because of his cancer, he's on opiates already. At the age of 5, they give him dihydrocodone. And like, I won't give him that. And when they suggested giving him it as a precaution for pain relief, I said, hell no, over my dead body, I'm not putting that into him if he doesn't need it.
Right.
Because the way I am, there's no way at 5 years old I'm going to pump him full of codeine.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, I mean, the whole thing is all about, well, a lot of it today, the prescription drug world has gotten a little out of hand. And it makes it, even if like the parents are the ones that are maybe on a prescribed pain medicine, Well, it doesn't take long for children to, or children, teenagers in the high school realm to hear about oxys and this, that, and the other, and snooping around, finding pills and what have you in your own house. It's just it's a shame. I know my mom. She felt like because there's the gene, the alcoholism gene in our family that runs on both sides of my family. She felt like because I have three sisters, so there's four of us in total, and three of us are in the Alcoholics Anonymous program. She felt a great deal of guilt that she had caused this, and it took a while, but coming around to the knowledge that she was not the cause of this, she did not. She didn't put us in any kind of position. We had a great life, growing up. It wasn't always in our face that alcohol and what have you. It's just a genetic thing, and I, like any child or any teenager or anything, you go out with your friends one time, later in your high school tenure and start drinking, and it's gonna grab a hold of whoever it can. And I mean, I was a sitting duck for it, but unfortunately for my mom, she went through the whole gamut of, oh, what have I done? And that, I mean, that's just no way. That her mental health for the last 5 years of my active addiction was in shambles, and I was the cause of that. Like I was, and I mentioned to you that I felt like I was doing nothing wrong. I felt like everything was on the straight and narrow. But that was just my sick brain justifying everything to make sure that that buzz was achieved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like thinking back to, like, I know mine was like the overdosing and stuff. At the age of 11, when I took my first overdose, I was able to readily get hold of what I needed. And even down to the alcohol as well that I took in. Because my first overdose, I washed it down with alcohol and was able to get hold of pills, no problem. I had no issues with getting hold of anything. And there was a few times where I'd done it and nobody actually found out. Like, thankfully I'd not thank you, Jim. Thankfully I'd not succeeded despite the numerous attempts to take my own life. But I had no issues in getting hold of any of it. And my mom's response when she found out that I'd done some of the overdosing, I know one of the occasions she made me drink pints and pints of salt water to make me sick. But like I had a very different, I guess, childhood where I did feel like I was to blame for it, which is why I was doing that. And I was always told not to tell anybody about it, which is why I think mine escalated, because I was always told that if I tell anybody that it will break the family up and stuff. But then my dad was physically abusive quite a lot. And I was told that I wasn't allowed to tell that. So I figured that this was my escape. And having failed with the cutting and stuff, and the fact that when I failed, it was visible and people could see it and people would ask, I turned to doing it with pills in the hope that it would be quicker. And if I failed, then there would be nothing to see. Not realizing the damage it was doing internally at the same time. And it was many, many years until I actually did realize what damage it was doing inside. And because of some of that, some of those medications that I did overdose on now are like, they say if you take something too much, you become like, where it doesn't work anymore, it's ineffective to you. And I think,
Yeah.
well, is that some of the reason why I'm not able to take certain things? I don't know. But it certainly has messed up my body. And then
Mhm.
the fact that I'm on fentanyl now, a lot of the things that is happening to my body, and some of the reason why I need surgery is because of the fentanyl directly. And like,
Yeah,
yeah,
the fentanyl epidemic that has swept our nation, my nation, uh, is well, it's getting a little bit better, but at the same time, I mean, 2018, I believe, was the worst year for it. I mean, we were going out. I'd say in a 24-hour shift, I was giving Narcan probably at least 5 times in 24 hours to 5 different folks. We went through a bad wave, and it was all because of the stuff being laced with this fentanyl.
mm,
So, uh, but we are coming up on the end of the hour, top of the hour, and Lucia and Veda, I believe, are getting ready to go live, so we'll kick it over towards them.
mhm,
Um, but as always, want to tell all the viewers and replay viewers to please reach out if you need us. Gemma and I are both open. At the end here, we'll put up our end screen again, and all of our information is there, along with crisis lines. We're going to be constantly updating that.
mhm,
Um, and one of the new things I'm going to start doing, I started last week. I put an article on Twitter about cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what we discussed last week. I'll be trying to post some links for the parents out there that want some more information on all of this. Uh, I found a couple of good articles that I'll be happy to post on Twitter, and I'll just put them across my socials, and we can share them out, retweet, all that good stuff. Gemma, did you have anything to add with the crisis lines or anything like that?
I'll keep adding to them when I if there is anybody that is in the comments and your country isn't on there, please let me know and I'll add it. Only thing I really want to say is just to Bo, if you're still here, like, thank you for sharing your story with us. Stay strong. Like, I get the humor thing. That's the way I do it. My whole the humor side is because I know what it feels like to be rock bottom, and I guess I use humor to make sure people don't feel like that. If I can bring a laugh and a smile, but honestly, Bo, like, you're doing amazing, and thank you for sharing that. That's like literally that's it, really. To be honest, it's like, yeah,
Yes, a huge thanks again to Bo Adams for coming on and sharing.
yeah,
If you missed his interview, well, more of a story, please watch the replay. A great
mm,
guy. Happy to have met Bo on this platform amongst all of you guys. And yeah, so we will be live again next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 11 p.m. Gemma time, and
mhm.
that's what 2 o'clock where Bo's at out in Nevada. Um, so
Cool.
once again, thanks everybody for being here. We're gonna end with the numbers for you,
Mhm.
and we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, so thanks for being here.
Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.